Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Piglet here once again, and I'm Mickey Mouse here. We are back for the Maxi Toys, and welcome back to more Let's Play of Super Smash Bros. Melee for the Nintendo GameCube. So last time we actually did manage to take on Invention Mode as Mewtwo, despite the fact that we actually have a rough time on that particular mode as Mewtwo. But apart from those sides of things, we still managed to beat the likes of Giga Bowser nonetheless at the end. But apart from those sides of things, after we actually used 2 continues instead of 1, we did that pretty okay on that. So anyway, today for this episode, we're about to go and head back into All-Star mode and select the next 2 bunch of characters we'll be going to do in this particular episode. So anyways, we have ourselves 2 remaining characters in our lineup, such as Roy or Pichu. Well, today, for this particular video, we might actually go for... let's go for Pichu. Oh boy, Pichu. What do I even begin with that particular fighter? Although, to be fair, Mickey, we'll get this started as soon as we actually just to talk about his moves then. So, here we go. On to Pichu on the All-Star mode. So, Pichu, as far as the actual control method is concerned, that he plays exactly similar to Pikachu because he share the exact same moves. Just like Dr. Mario, Falco, Young Link, and even Ganondorf at this point. But even then though, so that the only major difference between Pikachu and Pichu though, however, is that, well, if you remember watching the Pokemon short called Pokemon, the movie 3 short movie called Pikachu and Pichu, that you know how Pikachu usually did you know, his attacks no problem without taking any damage or something like that. Pichu, however, does take damage after when you use the electric moves. Like, for instance, Thunderbolt, it can take you like 3% damage. And also, if you use the Thunderbolt for the first time, that you get 1% damage. So you're gonna have to be very careful with using these particular techniques, because if you use them like a couple of times and stuff, you'll be able to actually be assuming that you might actually reach up to your percentage meter all the way up to 100 easier. So just be very cautious and be careful while using that particular ability, because obviously if you use that way too many times, then you probably ended up trying to actually get knocked out by any opponents easier. So, and truth be told, this is actually the final Pokemon fighter we're going to be playing now since Super Smash Bros. Melee. And so when it gets to Brawl, then things start to get something brand new to the table, but we'll explain on that until... Well, actually, I think you, Piglet, and Sonic are about to redo on that playthrough. Yeah, definitely for next month. But anyway, I digress though. So, yeah, but still, nonetheless though, that of all the fighters that we're actually going to be playing as, I think Pichu is actually definitely one of my least favorite fighters in the entire game. Although, don't get me wrong, we do like Pichu nonetheless, but it's just the fact that I hate the fact that if you actually be using your Thunderbolt attacks on specific positions and stuff, that sometimes you ended up getting yourselves hit a lot, which even then though, the basic prime example is to actually constantly using down B attack a lot, which still, you're gonna have to be, you know, be very, very careful if you actually try to use that, because again, if you get knocked out by any of these opponents during the actual battles themselves, most accurately the heavyweight characters, that you'll be ended up flying out to the stage, and then as a result though, you have to be very careful. I highly recommend you do an up smash ability, because if you do an up smash attack, you know, the control stick and the A buttons, and even then though, it will protect you not to get damaged. However, when it comes to the side smash attack, you ended up getting damaged as well, so yeah, just be very careful. And also recommended to you is the down smash attack, which is, you know, control stick down and A at the same time, so even then though, you also get protected. So, apart from those sides of things though, however, that a lot of people seem to think that Pichu is definitely the weakest fighter in the entire Smash Bros. Series. But even then though, so that's mainly due to the fact that there's limitations of his abilities. That if you actually be using the Thunder Bolt or anything like that, you ended up getting hurt by the looks of it. Because if you remember watching Pokemon the movie 3 movie shorts called Pikachu and Pichu, that's what narration mentioned earlier, it says like, too bad Pichu doesn't have electric attacks without shocking themselves. So even then though, that Pichu does have a disadvantage for protecting himself from his own thunder, so that's a little bit of a problematic, so anywho though. So, but nonetheless though, that Pichu's first appearance was obviously in Pokemon Gold and Silver, and even Crystal as a result, because usually speaking of such though, that Pichu was essentially the second generation Pokemon, so even then though, that's usually how this goes basically. I think this is the only Generation 2 playable character of the Super Smash Bros. Lineup, until when it gets to the point, well, not so much for Generation 3, but until in Generation 4, and even, I don't know about Generation 5, but until we get to Generation 6, that things starts to get a bit more interesting, just so much of that. However though, we only got about 5 days to go until the Nintendo Switch presentation should be about to come up, so even then though, we're still pretty excited about the presentation that's about to pop up until when that particular day comes. So even then though, that we actually hyped for it. Yeah, like, I heard there's a lot of rumors about the Nintendo Switch so far. Oh, God. Yeah, sadly though, that Pichu, much like Mewtwo, has a pretty miserable defense though, or even offense. But even then though, he's not as like, accurate when it comes to defending himself, unlike Pikachu counterpart. But even then, that compared to the likes of the you know, between Pikachu and Pichu, that Pichu's plays exactly similar to Pikachu, but just with a different nitpicks I have with him. So, anywho though, so, and also if you actually be using the up B attack, which is essentially the you know, the fall tackle and stuff, that you also might as well get hurt no matter what. So, usually speaking of Pikachu, that if you ever play Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal as a result, that Pichu's usually this was before when Pikachu is involved. Then even then though, until when Pikachu evolves into Raichu, if you ever played the Pokemon games before. So yeah, that's all there is to know. If I want to let you guys notice that. And much like in any other clone characters, that Pichu is actually the unlockable fighter. In order to actually unlock him, however, very similar to how it does it from Ganondorf, you'd be anticipated in event matches. Like, except the notable difference is that you're gonna have to tackle for a different number of events. Like, you know, in Ganondorf, in order to actually unlock him, you need to actually beat event number 29, the Triforce Gathering. And then after when you beat that event, you're going to actually fight and hopefully trying to unlock Ganondorf as a result. This time, however, that in order to actually unlock Pichu, assuming if you're actually trying to unlock the rest of the characters first, that in order to actually proceed to the event matches and stuff, in order to actually unlock Pichu, is the fact that you need to actually do event number 37, known as Legendary Pokemon. In other events, you're going to be constantly using the Pokeballs, and sometimes they actually send out either the Wuffets or the Legendary Pokemons from Generation 2. And even as a result, though, however, that although rarely occasions there was actually Mew, which is essentially the first generation Pokemon Legendary. But apart from that, those sides of things, though, however, that it's most likely Generation 2 Pokemon Legendary. So yeah, but again, until when it gets to Brawl, and even Super Smash Bros. 4. It gets even more legendary Pokemons until when I come across into. So yeah, anywho, so now we got 2 matches to go, and then hopefully we can actually just get this done and over with. But even then though, if you guys don't know already, that the screen resolution was a little bit too squished at points. Because it's a bit like how it does it back in when Duffy was about to tackle through Super Mario Galaxy 2 for almost a year ago now. But even then, we're going back into this particular screen size at this point, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, because normally, though, it's mostly because if we actually go to try to switch to HDMI and then the component cable and all that, sometimes it rarely happens. But even then, until we actually get into the next bunch of videos, now we don't know if we can actually fix this or something like that. But even then, we'll have to find out and say. So anywho. So yeah, if you probably don't know already, that our voice was actually a little bit weird for this today. It's mostly because we just had a really bad illness today. But even then though, that it's mostly due to the fact the chest infection what we had. But even then though, we're still fine nonetheless though. It's just that we need to actually be be more precise with our voices at the moment, even for commentary-wise. Even then, though, I don't want to get my chest infection will get effective when I decide to talk really loud and all that. But yeah, that's how essentially this long story goes. Oh great, looks like we have to deal with the Team Mr. Gamer Watches with only none of these heart containers, and also judging by the fact that we got about 149 percentage meter at the moment because we get butt kicks by Young Link and Zelda and all that. But even then though, so then we pretty much almost done with Pichu. Well, besides the target smash level, which we'll sort of talk more on the target smash for Pichu and all that, but even then though, we'll get to that as soon as we actually finish his campaign first. So, eat my Pokeball, or perhaps die. Okay. So yeah, that concludes Pichu. Probably be one of my least favorite characters to play as, but apart from that though, he's actually not too awful or anything. It's just the fact that it's every time when you use the electric attacks and all that, you actually get yourself a disadvantage for your defending yourself. So even then though, that's always usually whenever I speak about Pichu entirely. So, but even then though, that again, in order to actually unlock him, you need to actually complete event number 37, Legendary Pokemon, and then if you successfully complete that event, that you're actually able to actually fight him. And some strange reason, it's only going to be taking place in Pokemon Stadium, surprisingly, which is very similar to how it does it when you fight Jigglypuff to begin with. But except that Pichu has his own theme, which is actually a battle theme music, which is pretty different from what I was expecting it. So there we go. So that concludes Pichu in All-Star mode. But even then though, this video wasn't exactly over yet. Well, that's actually really cute, actually. Even then though, that since Pichu is actually going to be sleeping for the whole time, but even then though, I found that to be a really adorable picture. But anyway, so as usual, we're going to be ending this episode off while actually showcase the Pichu's Target Smash stage. Of all the Target Smash test stages, this is by far the hardest stage in the entire game. Mostly judging by the fact that how you're going to be actually be dealing with some pretty tricky platforms. Most likely the right section, which we'll get into that in a second. So even then though, let's go ahead and just try to actually carefully just precise our jumps and what have you. And then even then though, such though, you don't want to be overly too slow on that part, or even especially you don't want to trip yourself, because if you somehow trip though, however, you probably ended up, you have to restart the whole sequence again. So yeah, pretty much by far the hardest target smash level in the entire game, at least in my opinion anyway, because again, that you don't have it on the way, that if you especially noticeable if you're actually trying to use the Volt Tackle ability, that you won't able to actually have yourselves a momentum in midair, and as a result though, you probably ended up going to die easily thanks to that really huge bottomless pit. Even though I don't find this one to be as hard, or in this case, this is quite a lot challenging compared to Mewtwo's and even the other characters we're about to be run into until any second or two. But yeah, if you probably couldn't tell already, that obviously judging by the fact that we are going to be starting off well, just involving the road, tilting platform over there, and even then though, that I highly suggest you go for the other 7 targets first, and then you go for the final 3 targets for last, because trust me, the third and the last 3 targets to actually attack or tamed, this is pretty tricky. Even if you actually have some mistakes like this, even for, yeah, you want to be really safe on this. Even then though, it takes a lot of patience. Ah, god dang it. Ah, great. So we'll be right back until we get ourselves a successful attempt. Good lord. Jeez. I could not have expected that this is by far the hardest, target smash levels I've ever played. But you know what, no matter what though, since we actually kept on retrying in this particular stage, you never believe how much attempts we're going to be doing for this particular stage. We managed to done it for roughly 10 attempts. 10 attempts? That's too much. But anyway though, so that concludes Pichu in All-Star mode. So anyways, we're gonna have to end things off here. So join us next time on Let's Play Super Smash Bros. Melee for the Nintendo GameCube. There's the fact that we're going back into the adventure mode and select the next character, which I can describe as another swordsman player. So anyway, see you guys next time. Later fellas.